At the class reunion, Lu Jingzhou's ex-girlfriend stained my new dress. She apologized in a panic. "I'm sorry, I'll pay for it. This dress of my wife's was an auction collectible from last year, with a winning bid of 1 million. Lu Jingzhou smiled and replied with an air of nonchalance. "1." Chenwei instantly collapsed to the ground, her face pale. "Damn, 1 million for a dress. Boss Lu is something else. Some people must be regretting it like crazy. Didn't she later marry a rich second generation? Couldn't even afford 1 million, more like a second-generation loser. Right now, she probably can't scrape together that much money even if she sold herself." Everyone laughed exaggeratedly. I looked with a complicated gaze at this ex who had abandoned Lu Jingzhou back then. She happened to look up, and our eyes met. Her eyes were filled with a thick mix of embarrassment and unwillingness. Earlier in the restroom, she suddenly stopped me and said lightly yet confidently, "Do you believe that if I wanted to, I could just crook my finger and he'd crawl over to me obediently like a dog?" Now, to get close to Lu Jingzhou again, she deliberately spilled red wine on me, leading to this situation. Actually, I wasn't surprised by her behavior. After all, Lu Jingzhou is now a tech tycoon worth over 10 billion yuan, frequently featured in financial magazines. If Chenwei hadn't married someone else back then, she would have been Mrs. Lu. I just felt a bit unfair for Lu Jingzhou. Because of those words, Lu Jingzhou took off his jacket and draped it over me, looking down at Chenwei. "If it's too difficult, maybe you could ask your imprisoned ex-husband for help." She clenched her fingers, her lips trembling stubbornly. "I'll pay it back." Lu Jingzhou just smiled. "If you can't keep it, you shouldn't make promises so easily." "Chenwei, you haven't changed a bit." His tone was clearly cold, yet I felt a little dazed. I had been with Lu Jingzhou since he started from scratch. Witnessing both his impoverished days and his moments of triumph, I had never seen him treat a girl so harshly in front of so many people, almost rudely. So, everyone laughed even more loudly. Only I noticed that while he seemed to be humiliating her, his gaze never left her. Too, in the 5 years we were together, Lu Jingzhou rarely mentioned his past to me, until a month ago. When we went back to his hometown to pick up some things, I accidentally found an old, worn-out wallet in his cabinet. Inside was a photo of a girl, her smile radiant and beautiful. Lu Jingzhou, usually so composed, was lost in thought for a long time, a hint of loneliness and gloom surfacing deep in his eyes. I swallowed the bitterness and asked casually, "Your ex-girlfriend?" "Yeah." I watched him tear the photo into pieces with a blank expression and throw it into the trash, a chill and restlessness creeping into my heart. I left right then and there. That day marked the first Cold War between us in 5 years. That night, after I finished showering, Lu Jingzhou hugged me from behind and let out a soft sigh. "When I was going through the toughest time starting my business, she took my company's core technology and defected to a rival company, eventually becoming the boss's wife there. On the day of her wedding, my mother went to find her but got into a car accident on the way and nearly didn't survive. The very next day, she left the country with her husband, Liang Qi. I truly hated her back then. I silently watched his calm expression in the mirror. Lu Jingzhou didn't know that I went back later. I watched him pick up Chenwei's photo from the trash can, his eyes red, carefully and bit by bit gluing it back together. 3. The party was coming to an end. Someone suddenly started stirring things up. We were classmates, so we should help each other in times of need. How about we crowdfund for Chenwei? As soon as these words were spoken, Chenwei's face instantly changed. She looked up helplessly at Lu Jingzhou, and Lu Jingzhou, gripping my hand, suddenly tightened his hold, as if he wanted to crush my fingers. Lu Jingzhou, it wasn't until I reminded him with difficulty that he came to his senses and let go of my hand. I looked at the marks left on my hand from his grip, feeling as if I had suddenly fallen into an ice cave, a chill spreading through my entire body. The troublemaker chuckled. Sneaking a glance at Lu Jingzhou's reaction, seeing no sign of objection, he quickly started egging others on to bid. $5. This is the former department beauty, the dream girl of so many guys. Can't you be a bit more generous? I'll donate 20. One after another, people started bidding, and the atmosphere became unprecedentedly lively. It was as if Chenwei were a commodity waiting to be sold at an auction, or a piece of fish and meat to be butchered at a market. Chenwei's face was as pale as paper, her eyes already red and swollen, but she remained silent throughout. Lu Jingzhou watched her expression of utter despair in silence. In the end, as everyone watched with amusement, the donated 100 yuan in small change was handed to Chenwei, who only said blankly, "Thank you." The crowd couldn't believe it. She actually took it. Ha ha ha. The proud goddess she used to be, now living like a beggar. Chenwei ignored them, holding the money in both hands, and walked up to Lu Jingzhou. Her posture humbled to the ground. Here's 100 yuan, Mr. Lu, can you give me more time for the rest? Her humble and respectful demeanor was a world apart from the bright and proud girl I saw in the photo. The crowd fell silent for a moment, exchanging glances. Aren't we going a bit too far? She's still a girl, after all. Lu Jingzhou didn't say a word, his gaze fixed on her. A dull ache suddenly tightened in my chest, and I could easily see through the irritation hidden beneath his cold eyes. He had hoped to see Chen Wei fall into the mud, to trample her dignity underfoot, yet now that the moment had come, he felt unsettled by her loss of pride and her calm acceptance of charity. Was it unease, or was it pity? For, in a moment of stunned silence, someone suddenly shouted at us in terror, "Get out of the way, the lamp is about to fall." I instinctively looked up and saw the chandelier above us wobbling, as if it was about to come crashing down at any moment. And the three of us were standing right under it. Lu Jingzhou. I reached out to pull him away, only to see Lu Jingzhou lunge toward Chen Wei, shielding her as they tumbled to the side. My head immediately buzzed, then my wrist was grabbed and yanked, and I stumbled backward in the opposite direction. Immediately after, the chandelier fell with a loud crash, sending debris scattering everywhere. A sharp, dull pain shot through my calf. A thin, long gash was cut near my ankle by a shard of debris, and blood oozed out. But it seemed I could no longer feel the pain. I just sat on the floor, staring blankly at the two people embracing in front of me. Whispers filled the air around me, the moonlight outside the window and the subtle gazes of others fell upon me, cold as white frost, until the man who had saved me asked with concern, "Mrs. Lu, are you all right?" I saw Lu Jingzhou's body stiffen abruptly. He pushed Chen Wei aside, walked over, and carefully examined my ankle. His deep voice was thick with frustration and apology. "I'm sorry, I didn't know you were behind me just now." Chen Wei also walked over, her voice very soft, tinged with a strange emotion. "Thank you for saving me just now." Lu Jingzhou ignored her, just staring at me intently. "Liang Qi, I really didn't know you were under the chandelier too." I silently shook off his hand. Lu Jingzhou looked at me for a moment, then directly scooped me up horizontally and headed toward the door. I struggled a little, but he firmly held my waist, his voice terrifyingly low. "Don't move, Jingzhou." Chen Wei chased after him. Lu Jingzhou wore a cold expression, his tone indicating he didn't want to talk to her. 3 months, 1 million must be transferred to my wife's account. Chen Wei suddenly smiled, casting a provocative glance at me. "Thank you for granting me an extension. I will definitely repay you within the specified time." 5. As soon as we got home, Lu Jingzhou half forced me to apply the medicine, then closed the bedroom door, cupped my chin, and kissed me. The pent-up frustration I had been holding all evening suddenly erupted, and I desperately tried to push him away. "Cancel the wedding next Saturday, let's break up." Lu Jingzhou stopped my movement with one hand. Why? But my mind was full of what his classmates had said when the accident happened. When something unexpected happens, a person's first reaction is always the most genuine. Lu Jingzhou saved Chen Wei first. Doesn't that say enough? Yeah, coldness and harsh words are revenge, care and protection are instinctive love. It felt like countless needles piercing my heart, a dense ache in pain spreading through my bloodstream. I asked Lu Jingzhou, "You still like her, don't you? The first person you saved was her, because you care about her more than you care about me. I saw it last time, I saw you gluing her photo back together. Since you've never forgotten her, why are you with me?" "No." He stared at me, his brow slightly furrowed, but his tone was certain. "Back then, she betrayed me, and my mother indirectly lost her mind because of her. Over the years, I've hated her every moment." When that accident happened just now, even if it wasn't her beside me, if it were any other classmate, I would have instinctively tried to save them. Hating her is one thing, life and death is another, but I really didn't know you were behind me. If I had known, I would never have let you get hurt. I gave her 3 months because I saw someone pick up their phone to record the screen. As for that photo, the doctor suddenly called me that day and said that past memories could stimulate my mother's brain, so I wanted to try using that photo. Lu Jingzhou held my hand. "Liang Qi, you'll understand me, won't you?" Seeing that I didn't speak, he let out a seemingly helpless sigh, then slowly kissed me. "Qi, the one I love now is you." His tone was unapologetically frank. "Don't say any more angry words about breaking up. Qi, I get hurt too." Under the dim light, Lu Jingzhou wore a pure black custom shirt, with the buttons undone, revealing a hint of seductive collarbone. His eyes were pitch black without a trace of impurity. Gently rubbing my burning earlobe, he asked in a low voice, "May I?" The air conditioner in the room was set very low, yet in the cold air, I was sweating all over from the heat. The atmosphere was just right. With a bang, the bedroom door was suddenly pushed open. "Jingzhou," a startled cry rang in my ears, pulling me back from my dazed thoughts. I instinctively looked over. Chenwei appeared at the bedroom door, her face pale. Staring blankly at us, I sat up almost immediately, shamefully pulling the blanket over my body. It's utterly absurd. Clearly, I am Lu Jingzhou's fiancé, yet under Chenwei's accusing gaze, I feel like a third party caught in an affair. 6. By the time we were both dressed and walked into the living room, Lu Jingzhou stared at Chenwei. "Why are you here?" Chenwei stared back at him, biting her lip. Her eyes filled with deep disbelief and grievance. "I went into the wrong room. I'm sorry. Get out," he ordered coldly. Lucy, Lu Jingzhou's younger sister, pulled Chenwei behind her, shielding her. "Bro, Chenwei came with me. A lot of people have been going to her house to collect debts. I was worried she wouldn't be safe, so I brought her here to stay for a while." Lu Jingzhou's face turned cold. "Lucy, do you even know what you're doing?" Lucy's eyes flickered. "This is my home too. Don't I even have the right to take in my own friend?" "Chenwei, don't be afraid. From today on, you'll stay here. No one can drive you away. In my heart, you are my true sister-in-law." As she spoke, she shot me a provocative glance. I found it ridiculous. The irritation grew stronger. Ignoring her, I looked directly at Chenwei. "You're afraid of debt collectors coming to your door, but have you forgotten that you owe me $1 million too? Or are you here today to pay me back?" I opened my payment QR code. "All right. You can pay me back now. Enough." Lucy swung her hand, and the phone hit the ground with a smack. Lucy turned to look at Lu Jingzhou, her eyes complex. "Brother, I know you hate Chenwei, but there's a reason for everything. Do you know what happened back then?" As if just snapping back to reality, Chenwei grabbed Lucy's arm, her reddened eyes pleading, "Don't say it." For a moment, no one spoke, until Lu Jingzhou suddenly asked, "What happened back then?" 7. But before Lucy could say anything, Chenwei suddenly fainted. "Bro, Weiwei is having a low blood sugar episode. Let her stay here tonight." I couldn't read Lu Jingzhou's thoughts. He just furrowed his brow, neither agreeing nor objecting. In the end, I let out a self-deprecating laugh and turned to leave. Half an hour later, Lu Jingzhou finally returned to the bedroom, grabbing my hand as I packed my suitcase. "What are you doing? Since there's already a new mistress here, I'll step aside." "Liang Qi, I've explained it. Chenwei and I are absolutely impossible," I interrupted him. "But you wavered just now, didn't you? If she really had her reasons back then, can you guarantee you wouldn't be swayed by her?" Lu Jingzhou, however, was resolute. "Even if she had her reasons, the fact remains that she abandoned me for someone else, and my mother ended up like this because of her. The damage has been done, and she no longer has any right to ask for my forgiveness." Chenwei woke up just now, and I told her she must leave first thing tomorrow morning. "Lucy too. This is our home. Since she won't accept you as her sister-in-law, she can pack up and leave with Chenwei." "I'm sorry, honey." Lu Jingzhou crouched down, gently wiping away my tears with his cool fingertips. "Bit by bit, it's my fault for making you sad and insecure." In the middle of the night, I was startled awake by thunder. Groggily turning over, I found the spot beside me empty. Lu Jingzhou was gone. I searched almost every corner of the house but couldn't find him. I called him several times, but he didn't answer. The rain grew heavier and heavier, and I sat blankly on the sofa, staring into space. Suddenly remembered there was one more place I hadn't checked. I ran to the guest room where Chenwei was sleeping. From inside came the faint sound of a woman moaning. My mind went blank. Trembling, I pushed the door, only to find it locked from the outside. My brother and Chenwei are inside. I was the one who drugged them and locked the door. Lucy shuffled over in her slippers. "They've wasted too many years. I have to fix these mistakes for my brother's happiness." My blood rushed to my head. "Lucy, if anything really happens, I'll call the police." I found the key, and with a click, the moment the door swung open, my heart leaped into my throat. 8. I didn't know whether to be relieved that the scene before me wasn't as sordid as I had imagined. Chenwei was curled up under the blanket, one hand tied to the headboard with a bedsheet, her face flushed bright red and her hair a mess. "Jingzhou, you don't need to save me. I know you." Haven't forgiven me yet, I don't want you to regret this. She seemed to be enduring great pain, and the sight of her crying made it impossible not to feel pity. Lu Jingzhou stood straight by the bed with his back to the door, and I couldn't see the expression on his face. Lu Jingzhou, the moment he saw me, Lu Jingzhou was taken aback. I ran over to him and found him fully dressed, seemingly unharmed. Trembling, I asked, "Are you okay?" Lu Jingzhou shook his head, as if something occurred to him. He stared at me and explained very seriously, "Lu Si tricked me into coming here earlier and locked Chenwei and me in the room, but I didn't drink the drugged wine. Nothing happened between us. In other words, only Chenwei had been drugged." My mind was in a mess. Just as I was about to speak, someone suddenly grabbed my arm. "It's all because of you. If it weren't for you, they would have made up long ago." Lu Si lunged at me, trying to hit me. I had had enough. I slapped her back. "Are you out of your mind?" Lu Si looked at me in disbelief and then complained to Lu Jingzhou, "Brother, she actually hit me. I'm your own sister." Seeing that Lu Jingzhou only stared at her coldly, a flicker of panic crossed Lu Si's eyes. "Liang Qi, my brother doesn't love you at all. How can you be so shameless as to keep clinging to him?" I laughed in anger. "Drugging your own brother and the ex-girlfriend who nearly killed your mother, locking them in a room together, now that's what I call shameless." Lu Si's eyes darted away. "Chenwei didn't mean to." Enough." Lu Jingzhou suddenly spoke, his expression and tone the coldest possible. "No matter what her reasons are, I don't want to hear them anymore." Lu Si's face turned pale. "Brother, you're going to regret this." Lu Jingzhou remained unmoved. "You'd better not show up at my wedding with Liang Qi next week. You're not welcome." In the end, the ambulance took Chenwei away. As she left, she said in a very soft voice, "Jingzhou, whether you believe it or not, I never meant to hurt you back then." Lu Jingzhou took my hand, his face showing no trace of emotion. 9. I told Lu Jingzhou that I wanted to think more about the marriage. He no longer insisted on refusing, but said seriously, "Liang Qi, no matter what, never leave me." I blocked everyone's messages and went on a solo trip to clear my mind. Unexpectedly, an earthquake suddenly struck the area. Even more unexpectedly, Lu Jingzhou rushed over, travel-worn. Despite the danger of aftershocks, I wasn't badly hurt, but he got hit on the arm by a signboard and needed 6 stitches. Seeing me on the verge of tears, he held back his own pain to comfort me. "Good thing it's just my arm. If it were my face, we wouldn't look good at our wedding." Though his tone was clearly joking, his expression turned incredibly serious and determined when he mentioned the wedding. I looked at him for a long time, then let out a deep breath. "Then you'd better heal quickly, or you'll still be in bandages on our wedding day." He was stunned for a moment, his eyes shining with light, and that light was filled with me. Okay. As the wedding day approached, I was running around in a dizzying frenzy. On the day I tried on my wedding dress, Chenwei called me. I knew all along that Lu Si had drugged the drink that day. "I drank it on purpose." She said a lot more, threatening that if I didn't give Lu Jingzhou back to her, she would kill herself. "I genuinely think she's crazy," I coldly replied. "Then go ahead and die." After that, she never called again. On the day of the wedding, someone sent me an anonymous text, "Want to bet you won't get married today?" The tone was certain, as if simply stating a fact. It was obviously sent by Chenwei. I felt inexplicably irritated. It wasn't just because of that text message, but I noticed something off about Lu Jingzhou today. "Groom, do you take her?" When the officiant asked for the 4th time, I saw Lu Jingzhou snap out of his distracted state. After another dazed silence, he finally murmured, "I do." I felt a bit dazed myself. Was he having second thoughts? Lu Jingzhou's phone rang abruptly. His expression shifted slightly, as if he knew who was calling, but he didn't answer. The phone kept ringing. He simply turned it off. When the wedding reached the segment of reminiscing about sweet memories, the prepared photos and music inexplicably disappeared, and a familiar face suddenly appeared on the big screen. "Lu Si." I suddenly had a bad feeling. The next second, Lu Si's panicked voice echoed throughout the entire wedding venue. "Brother, Chenwei is gone." The crowd erupted in commotion. "Who is Chenwei?" "Oh, Mr. Lu's ex-girlfriend." I watched as Lu Jingzhou was visibly taken aback. Lu Si seemed to be walking and running at the same time, her speech slightly breathless. "Just now, she was acting really strange. She said she wanted to prepare a wedding gift for you, and then she disappeared. Bro, even though I promised Chenwei I wouldn't say anything, I really can't hold it in anymore today. You weren't answering my calls, so I had to use this way to let you know the truth." Lu Jingzhou paused, his expression turning serious. She never betrayed you. The core technology wasn't taken by her. It was another employee at your company who stole it. She deliberately took the blame upon herself, because Chen Wei was diagnosed with leukemia at the time. Lu Jingzhou stood frozen in place. Back then, her ex-husband also threatened her, saying that if she didn't marry him, he would completely destroy your company. During those 5 years, she never enjoyed a comfortable life. She was abroad receiving treatment for her illness. Lu Jingzhou looked as if he had been struck by lightning, his face filled with disbelief. Brother, she really has sacrificed so much for you. That Liang Qi has a malicious heart and is completely unworthy of you. Do you know what she said to Chen Wei? With a crackling sound of electric current, Lu C turned on the voice recorder. From it came my cold, malicious voice. Go to hell. Lu Jingzhou suddenly turned his head and looked at me. He had never looked at me with such a sharp, suspicious, and questioning gaze. I saw Chen Wei. She is on the rooftop. Bro, Lu Ci's voice trembled. She's going to jump off the building. Lu Jingzhou seemed barely able to stand. Lu Jingzhou, that recording pen. I grabbed his arm, trying to defend myself. Lu Jingzhou shook me off violently. Caught off guard, I fell heavily to the ground. Lu Jingzhou, he only glanced back at me, his eyes complex, and then, without looking back, he left, ignoring the sympathetic and mocking gazes of everyone around. I stood up, lifted my skirt, and chased after him. A clap of thunder rumbled, and the sky, which had been clear and sunny, suddenly poured with rain. I stumbled along behind Lu Jingzhou to the rooftop of the hotel. I happened to see him and Chen Wei locked in a struggle in the heavy rain. Chen Wei kept struggling, while Lu Jingzhou, his eyes red, held her tightly from behind. Both of them were drenched through. Aren't you getting married? Why come looking for me? In your eyes, I'm just a bad woman who loves money and despises poverty. Lu Jingzhou, since you hate me, I'll die right in front of you. Before she could finish shouting, Lu Jingzhou forcefully turned her around, buried one hand in her hair, and kissed her fiercely. That was a very long 3 minutes. I watched as Lu Jingzhou, as if finally finding a lost treasure, held her tenderly yet kissed her with a fierce intensity. I watched Chen Wei go from initial resistance and rejection to acceptance, tilting her head back in surrender. It felt as if all the sounds around me were sucked away, and I was almost choked with a suffocating sensation. I opened my mouth. Lu Jingzhou, he didn't hear me. It was as if an invisible barrier separated me from their world. After all the hardships, the male and female leads finally cleared up their misunderstandings and got together. It was time for me to fade away quietly. I don't know how long it had been when Lu Jingzhou suddenly lifted his head and noticed me standing beside him. His face instantly turned pale. He almost immediately pushed Chen Wei away, yet, as Chen Wei let out a startled cry and nearly fell, he instinctively reached out to steady her by the waist. I curled my lips in a sarcastic smile. As I laughed, tears began to fall. Lu Jingzhou strode over to me. He was always calm, and I had never seen him look so panicked. In just a few meters, he even stumbled a couple of steps. Lu Jingzhou, congratulations, your ex-girlfriend had a reason for leaving you. She was dying back then and had to make you hate her. You must be very happy. Now, you can finally be together. I was still smiling. Chi-Chi. Lu Jingzhou's eyes churned with emotion, his pale lips trembling slightly. It seemed he wanted to say a lot, but he only softly called my name. I took out my phone from my bag and opened a recorded phone call. I chased after you to tell you that the recording they intercepted was deliberately edited. This is the full version of my conversation with Chen Wei. She was the one who provoked me first, threatening to commit suicide if I didn't give you up. I dislike her, but I won't be falsely accused of deliberately driving someone to suicide. Yes, when Chen Wei called, I recorded it just in case. Lu Jingzhou suddenly turned to look at Chen Wei. Her expression shifted slightly, tears gathering in her eyes, looking so pitiful that it was hard to blame her. Jingzhou, you know, I just love you too much. Besides, you just left her at the altar and kissed me in front of her. Doesn't that mean you've already forgiven me? Her blunt words were like a sharp knife, cutting directly and reminding Lu Jingzhou of what he had just done. Lu Jingzhou froze completely, his eyes gradually reddened, and he raised his hand to touch me. Chi-Chi, I dodged abruptly and slapped him hard. Don't touch me. Disgusting. The air fell silent for a moment, watching shock, pain, and regret well up in his eyes. I felt an unusual calmness, mixed with a hint of daze. Many fragments flashed through my mind. On the day I first met Lu Jingzhou, I caught my dad on a date with his mistress. My dad flew into a rage and directly threw the coffee on the table at my face. It was Lu Jingzhou. who happened to pass by, that used his body to block the hot and sticky coffee for me. The boss kindly gave us medicinal liquor and cotton swabs, letting him apply the medicine in the break room while I waited outside and fell asleep. When I woke up, the restaurant was almost closing. Not only had Lu Jingzhou not left, but he had also draped his coat over me. I couldn't wake you up no matter how I called, so I couldn't just leave you here alone. Lu Jingzhou glanced at his watch, rubbed his temples, and said, "It's getting cold. Wear more next time you go out, eh?" Simple word of concern from a stranger made my nose tingle. Looking at the heavy stains on the coat, I took out my phone to compensate him for the cost of the jacket. Lu Jingzhou declined lightly. "No need, it wasn't expensive." It was only much later that I learned that coat was Lu Jingzhou's only and most expensive haute couture piece at the time. Later, I submitted my resume to his company. At that time, the company had just suffered a major blow, and he spent his days entertaining clients, drinking so much that he ended up with a gastric hemorrhage. I suddenly realized that his desire for success bordered on obsession. It was as if he had to prove something to someone. Yet that day at the restaurant, he had planned to secure investment for the company, but for the safety of a stranger like me, he waited until the restaurant closed. Such contradictions made it impossible not to want to delve deeper. And then, I fell deep. During the day, I accompanied clients to drink on his behalf, and at night, I busied myself at the hospital taking care of him. To nourish his stomach, I spent hours every day simmering soft millet porridge and lotus seed pork belly soup. In the end, on the day he was discharged from the hospital, I ended up being admitted due to overwork. He sat by the bedside and looked at me for a long time. "Do you like me?" I replied foolishly. "You only just realized that now?" Lu Jingzhou was taken aback, then lowered his eyes and smiled. "I really am quite slow." Later, he prepared a grand confession at the company and took me to the mall to buy a dress I had been eyeing for a long time. He touched the corners of my reddened eyes and smiled, "That easy to satisfy. When the company goes public, I'll buy you a dress worth $1 million. I stood on my tiptoes and kissed him, my face full of sweetness. "I believe you." Back then, I never imagined that the $1 million dress would later be destroyed by Chenwei, becoming a tool for him and Chenwei to rekindle their old flame. On the first night we lived together, he wiped my tears and asked knowingly, "Who bullied you?" I got up in the middle of the night and found him smoking on the balcony. Under the thick darkness, his tousled hair obscured his sharp brows and eyes, the crimson glow of the cigarette tip flickering. Unlike the decisive and commanding Mr. Lu of usual times, at that moment he was fragile and captivating. Thinking back now, he was probably missing Chenwei. Over these 5 years, I accompanied him through countless setbacks and blows, never leaving his side, and he did everything a perfect boyfriend should do for me. But the moment Chenwei appeared, I still lost everything. When I was leaving the rooftop, Lu Jingzhou grabbed my wrist, his voice hoarse. "Don't go." This time, I didn't break free immediately. I looked at him for a moment, then smiled softly. "Lu Jingzhou, we've been together for 5 years. I admire your talent and ambition, respect your perseverance and hard work, and feel for your struggles. I respect you and love you. No matter what happened, I never thought of leaving you, but today, I suddenly realized that you don't deserve me. Over these 5 years, you might have had some feelings for me, but in your heart, those feelings are too shallow, mixed with the distraction of relieving loneliness and the gratitude of depending on each other. Compared to the passionate love between you and Chenwei, they are utterly insignificant. But let me tell you, my love is just as sincere and passionate, just as deserving of genuine affection. I simply loved the wrong person, you." Lu Jingzhou's face paled. He parted his lips as if to defend himself, but no words came. He could only look at me in silence. With sorrow, I pried his fingers away one by one, my tone cold and merciless. "Too cowardly to admit you still love your ex-girlfriend, yet unwilling to let go after heartlessly hurting your current one. Lu Jingzhou, I despise you." 11. I moved out soon after and checked into a hotel temporarily. In the past few days, Lu Jingzhou hasn't come looking for me. He must have made up his mind to get back together with Chenwei. I think over the weekend, my mom sent me a WeChat message asking me to come home and stay. I just felt exhausted. 5 years ago, I handed my mom evidence of my dad's affair. She held me and cried all night, then decided to get a divorce unexpectedly. My dad was ruthlessly retaliated against by that mistress's husband and ended up with high-level paraplegia. That mistress didn't want him, so he shamelessly came begging my mom, "If you don't want me, Bather, I might as well jump off a building and die. My mom is gentle and soft-hearted. After my dad's theatrics of crying, making a scene, and threatening suicide, she actually agreed not to divorce him. Chi-Chi, he's your father after all. I was so angry that I cried on the spot. What kind of father is he? He's been beating and scolding me since I was little, calling me a jinx, saying it's because of me that he doesn't have a son. When I was 4, he and Grandma even tried to drown me in the river. That day at the restaurant, he threw that scalding hot coffee right in my face. Did he really see me as his daughter? My mom bit her lip, a flicker of struggle and hesitation crossing her face. You're fine now, and your dad is already like this. I looked at her, finding it ridiculous, and even more so, chilling. In this family, it's either him or me. The day I moved out of the house was my birthday. My mom had Lu Jingzhou come pick me up. She pleaded timidly from behind, "You must treat Chi-Chi well." Lu Jingzhou glanced at her. "Of course, I'll give her a home." His tone carried a thin layer of anger, clearly expressing his defense of me. That night, Lu Jingzhou cooked me a bowl of longevity noodles. Tears kept falling into the noodles as I said, "She doesn't want me anymore." Through the rising steam, I heard him say, "I want you." Back then, I naively believed that Lu Jingzhou would really give me a home, probably because I wasn't replying to her messages. My mom called me. She rushed to say before I could hang up, "I kicked Liang Dong out." Liang Dong is my father. While he was asleep, I had someone tie him up and send him back to our hometown. Your grandmother always wanted to take care of a grandson, didn't she? Liang Dong can't take care of himself now, so he's no different from a grandson. Why did you do that? There was a long silence on the other end of the phone. For the past 5 years, you've never been willing to contact me. You didn't come back to see me during holidays, and you didn't even invite me to your wedding. Chi-Chi, I really miss you. I was there at the wedding that day, when you ran after Lu Jingzhou. I followed you too. I was slightly stunned. Lu Jingzhou didn't notice me following behind him, and I didn't notice her following behind me. Mom saw everything. They used a recording pen to frame you. He abandoned you at the altar for another woman and even kissed her in front of you. These past few days, Mom has been thinking, would you come to her, vent your grievances, or even take out your anger, but you bore it all on your own. Her voice was already trembling with a hint of tears. You've endured so much injustice, yet you told no one. You couldn't tell a single soul, and then I realized with sorrow that you've always been this way since you were little. Others could act spoiled in their mother's arms, but you swallowed every bitterness and kept it all inside. I've really failed as a mother. Mom doesn't expect you to forgive me. I just want you to know that if you're willing to trust me one more time, you can tell me anything from now on. 12. I didn't move in with my mom, but I won't deliberately keep my distance from her anymore either. Over the years, I've saved up quite a bit, along with 10% of Lu Jingzhou's company shares, enough to secure a worry-free life for the rest of my days. I plan to find a suitable place to buy a house and give myself a home. That day, after viewing a house, I had just arrived at the hotel lobby when I noticed a few people pointing at me. Is that Liang Qi who trended online? She's actually pretty good looking, judging by the photos. Yes, it seems she also instigated the groom's ex-girlfriend to commit suicide. I heard she was the one who broke them up back then, a real femme fatale. I immediately opened Weibo and found that what happened at the wedding that day had been screen recorded and posted online, along with a lengthy fabricated truth about how I tore them apart. The person who stole the core technology from Lu Jingzhou's company back then was actually me. I teamed up with Chen Wei's ex-husband to break them apart, because the story was too twisted and dramatic. Netizens quickly pushed it to the top of the trending list. The whistleblower even used their real name. It was Chen Wei. I don't understand why she did this. She had already gotten everything she wanted, but the way a madman thinks is beyond my comprehension. I chose to call the police immediately. After giving my statement, I was blocked at the hotel entrance. Having been a private citizen for so many years, this was the first time I was surrounded by so many paparazzi and flashing cameras. Except for when I won a competition or when my company went public, a microphone was shoved right in front of my face. Miss Liang, I heard that 5 years ago you threatened a leukemia patient, forced her to break up with her boyfriend, and even instigated her suicide after she recovered. Is that true? Of course not. Of course it's true. A familiar female voice came from behind the crowd. Everyone's gaze turned in that direction. It was Chen Wei. She looked much haggard. Her clothes appeared wrinkled, and her condition was far from good. Liang Qi is nothing but a homewrecker who meddles in other people's relationships, no matter how rich and powerful she is. Today I will bravely step forward and expose her evil deeds. She repeated the fabricated story from the internet. After speaking, she shot me a provocative glance. Miss Leong, since the parties have publicly accused you, what do you have to say for yourself? I said calmly. An accusation requires evidence. Without evidence, it's just baseless slander. All right then, Miss Leong, do you have evidence to prove you didn't do it? I stared coldly at that paparazzo, about to speak, when a low voice sounded in my ear. I can vouch for her. Chen Wei's face instantly changed color, though I had already calmed down, hearing his voice still felt like waves crashing over me, leaving me momentarily dazed. I looked up and met Lu Jingzhou's gaze. I hadn't seen him in a month. He had lost a lot of weight, his features too sharp, with a hint of weariness between his brows. He stared at me, and seeing no particular reaction from me, a hint of gloom crept into his eyes. Isn't that the male lead who fled the wedding in the video? He's Mr. Lu. Always on the financial news, Lu Jingzhou pulled out a document, his expression cold. This is Chen Wei's leukemia diagnosis from back then. It's fake. I was completely stunned. Fake? Lu Jingzhou looked at me, his eyes filled with complexity. That day when you revealed the truth about the recording pen, I became suspicious of what she said. I took her diagnosis to an expert for verification. It's fake. Over the past month, I used my connections to track down the person she claimed stole the files back then. According to the police investigation, that person didn't commit the crime. The information was stolen by Chen Wei. I also sought confirmation from her ex-husband in prison, who said that back then, Chen Wei used the core technology as a ticket to gain favor and approached him on her own. He even produced the recording from that time. I instinctively looked at Chen Wei. Her hands were twisting the hem of her skirt, and she wore an expression of embarrassment and fury at being caught in a lie. It seemed to be true. Lu Jingzhou faced the reporters. Chen Wei never had leukemia back then. She deceived everyone just to secure her position as Mrs. Lu. I also took out my phone and played the full recording again. The crowd erupted in uproar. So, Chen Wei did nothing at all, just used a fake diagnosis claiming she had leukemia to rationalize all her crimes. It sounds far-fetched, but that's just human nature. Lies only deceive those who choose to believe them. Lies only deceive those who choose to believe them. I silently repeated this sentence in my mind and smiled bitterly. The tables had turned, and now the paparazzi and flashing cameras surrounded Chen Wei. A staged act. Are you trying to get famous? I thought about it seriously and realized that, given Chen Wei's personality, it was indeed possible. Since she couldn't be Mrs. Lu anymore, finding another way to become an influencer and make money was an option, but she might be disappointed. Some bystanders were also indignant, saying, "You have leukemia. Aren't you afraid you'll actually get it? When he was poor, you looked down on him for being poor. Now that he's a CEO, you're resorting to any means to break him and his fiancée apart. You're truly shameless. Mistresses should all die." Forced back step by the interrogation, Chen Wei suddenly became emotional. "Liang Qi, what's so great about you? I was the one who knew him first. He had a crush on me for so long. What makes you think you can come from behind and take my place? It's all your fault. If it weren't for you, Jingzhou and I wouldn't have ended up like this," I said expressionlessly, "because you're insatiably greedy and vain, yet you only want to reap without sowing. If you give nothing, you'll get nothing in return. You can only blame yourself for ending up like this with Lu Jingzhou." Chen Wei's face turned extremely ugly, but she couldn't say a word. Just then, an alarm rang. Chen Wei froze for a second, then immediately turned around and ran toward the main road, but she was quickly caught by the police, spreading rumors, inciting online harassment, stealing trade secrets. "She won't be out for at least 5 or 6 years, Lu Jingzhou said in a low voice. I just felt a bit amused. The statute of limitations for stealing trade secrets is 5 years. Back then, you couldn't bear to sue Chen Wei, but 5 years later, you finally did. Lu Jingzhou's face turned pale. "Don't tell me it's for me. What if I said it was?" A glimmer of hope rose in his eyes. I curled my lips sarcastically and looked at him coldly. "From the moment you ran away from the wedding, you completely severed all possibilities between us. Lu Jingzhou, you don't love me, and you don't love her. You only love yourself. Don't come looking for me again. It makes me sick." 12 These days, every time I go out to look at apartments, I see Lu Jingzhou standing downstairs holding a large bouquet of roses. Sometimes, it's a watch, a necklace, a diamond ring, a bag. I smiled and said, "Lu Jingzhou, don't forget, I have money." I can buy these things myself. Lu Jingzhou seemed not to hear me, his eyes slightly raised. If you don't like these lifeless things, then next time I'll give you a little dog. I remember your birthday wish last year was for a little dog, but we were too busy, and you were afraid you wouldn't be able to take good care of it, so we never got one. These past few days, I noticed that when you passed by a pet store, you kept staring at that Shiba Inu. Its eyes are round, and it smiles. Very gently, I'll give you that one. Okay, he talked on and on to himself, clearly smiling gently, yet his whole demeanor seemed stubborn and obsessive. Mingming, you used to love the gifts I gave you. Don't you understand yet? I liked your gifts before because I loved you. Now, I don't love you anymore. Lu Jingzhou's pupils suddenly contracted, and a few seconds later, a layer of bewilderment crept into his eyes. Liang Qi, I love you. I just gave him a cold, indifferent look and turned away. It took me nearly 3 months to finally get my own property deed. Over the next few months, I was busy finding a designer, renovating, and buying furniture. By the time I actually moved into the new house, it was already a year later. During that year, Lu Jingzhou didn't come to see me much. He was busy with internal company struggles, overwhelmed and stressed. Because I sold my shares to another shareholder who also held 20% and was in competition with him, I really didn't want to have anything more to do with him. My mom came over to help me clean up and told me a lot of things. First, she said that my dad and my grandma had been holding grudges against each other back in our hometown, and my dad even got into a fight with her while sitting in his wheelchair, nearly causing a disaster. Then she went on to share some juicy gossip related to Lu Jingzhou. Lu Jingzhou's mother regained her senses a few days ago and revealed a shocking secret. Back then, her condition wouldn't have been so severe, but she got furious. After learning something, my curiosity was piqued. What was it? It turns out Lu Si isn't her biological daughter. When she gave birth, it was a difficult labor and the baby was stillborn. Her husband, afraid she'd be heartbroken, brought in another child. But in reality, Lu Si is the daughter of her husband and his mistress, and Lu Si has known about this all along. That really is melodramatic, however. Given his mother's fiery sense of justice, Lu Si's days at home were probably not going to be easy. There's one more thing. My mother hesitated. I understood. Did Chinwei really get leukemia? How did you know? My expression was calm as I patted the Shiba Inu on the head. It's all over the internet. Everyone's saying we should be careful with our words from now on and never curse ourselves. The next time I saw Lu Jingzhou, I was walking my dog in the park downstairs, together with my new boyfriend, Song Chuz. Lu Jingzhou stood under the shadow of a tree, like a silent statue, staring at us intently. The Shiba Inu, Chai Chai, spotted Lu Jingzhou and excitedly bounded over, circling him non-stop. The atmosphere suddenly turned awkward. Song Chuz glanced at Chai Chai, his voice cool and low, carrying a lazy rasp. Your ex-dad. Lu Jingzhou stared at him expressionlessly, his already fair face taking on an eerie pallor, making him look even more icy. Song Chuz smiled and deliberately whispered in my ear, just loud enough for the three of us to hear. Chi-Chi, I'm going to buy something. We're out of it at home. I knew he wanted me to clear things up with Lu Jingzhou, so I hummed an acknowledgement. I watched Song Chuzhou leave. When I turned around, Lu Jingzhou had already walked over and was silently gazing at me, his eyes deep as whirlpools. You bought that little dog? Yes, I said. I used to go to the store and see it often, so it remembers me. I know. His eyes flickered slightly. I remember you said on Weibo that you named him Yuan Yuan. Song Chuz said that dismantling it would be more suitable. An eerie silence wrapped around us like an impenetrable cocoon. Lu Jingzhou stood tall and straight, silently watching me. His gaze was so cold and heavy that I couldn't help but step back a few paces. Before I could react, Lu Jingzhou had already pressed me against the wall, his arm around my waist. He gazed deeply into my eyes, his cool palm pressing against my cheek, as if to confirm that I was right there in front of him, seeing him lean in. I abruptly turned away. If you dare to do anything to me, my boyfriend, he let out a strange, cold laugh from his throat. Really a boyfriend? Chi-Chi, I froze for a few seconds. I know everything. He's your friend, and he's asexual. You agreed to pretend to be his girlfriend for a month to deal with his family's pressure to get married. So what if you know? I looked at him calmly. Whether I have a boyfriend or not has nothing to do with you, does it? How can it have nothing to do with me? Liang Qi, I love you. I don't love you. Lu Jingzhou's eyes darkened, his lashes trembling slightly, as he suddenly changed the subject. last year, you deliberately sold your shares to Xiaoxi just to give him the capital to stand against me. Guess who won between Xiaoxi and me? As if he didn't need my answer, he let out a soft laugh. You won. I stared at him, startled and uncertain. Liang Qi. I want to transfer all my shares and assets to you. He fixed his gaze on me, his dark pupils seeming to brew a storm. That way, I'll have nothing left. Can you take pity on me and let go of your anger? Have you lost your mind? Just think of me as crazy. Lu Jingzhou grabbed my chin and was about to kiss me, but I struggled with all my might and slapped him across the face. My sharp nails raked across his pale face, leaving streaks of blood. Lu Jingzhou was silent for a moment, then smiled calmly. Feel better? Want to slap me a few more times? I was affected after all, a surge of uncontrollable irritation welling up inside me. Lu Jingzhou, is this fun for you? Lu Jingzhou looked at me quietly for a long time, then reached out to touch my hand. Before he could, I flinched and hid my hand behind my back. His hand grasped at nothing and didn't pull back immediately. The moment I touch you now, you feel sick, don't you? Seeing my silence, his eyes reddened. Liang Qi, how did we end up like this? I shook my head and slowly pushed him away, as if trying to push him out of my world. Chi-Chi, please don't leave me, okay? It's too late. Lu Jingzhou, you don't love me, you're just unwilling to let go. No, that's not it. Lu Jingzhou's eyes were slightly bloodshot, filled with an unfathomable sadness. How could it be just unwillingness? Liang Qi, you're the best person to me in the whole world. I never told you this, but I always knew my dad had other women outside. My mom turned a blind eye to it too, because I look so much like my dad. She never really liked me. Later, when Lucy came along, she put all her focus on her. When we were kids, she took us on a road trip. Lucy just said she was hungry, and she rushed off holding her in her arms, leaving me locked in the car for 2 whole hours. If no one had passed by and seen me, I might have suffocated. The day I met you, I felt like I saw the version of myself who caught my dad cheating when I was little. Only you were stronger than me, braver than me. I didn't dare to whitewash the peace, to destroy a family that was barely holding together on the surface while being fragile underneath. Later, when I took you away and said I'd give you a home, I meant it. You always wanted a home, and so did I. During our toughest times, all the company's funds were tied up. We went to Beijing to seek investment, but we couldn't afford a hotel, so we found a 24-hour McDonald's. You ordered a pack of fries, then lay down on my lap, saying you were allergic to potatoes, and fed all the fries to me. It wasn't until later that I found out those were your favorite food. To keep up that lie, you went nearly a year without eating anything with potatoes, until I came back early from a business trip and saw you had made yourself a whole table of potato dishes. You might not know this, but the way your face turned red and you looked flustered was really adorable. Over the years, the longer I've been with you, the more I've come to love you. He paused, his eyes showing pain and regret. As for Chenwei, what I feel more is the unwillingness of being abandoned and the hatred of being betrayed. On the day of the wedding, I didn't know what came over me, hearing her reasons, hearing that she wanted to kill herself, hearing that you were the one who instigated it. I regretted it the moment I saw you on the rooftop that day. For this past year, I've regretted it every single moment. I don't know what I have to do, what I can do, for you to forgive me. Chi-Chi, I'm sorry. I'm truly sorry. All you can say is sorry. My vision blurred as I stared at the dark ground, my tangled mind aching, my leaping heart aching too. Is it that hard to do right by me? Chi-Chi, I wiped my eyes with the back of my hand, but couldn't stop the torrent of tears. Lu Jingzhou, it's no use. At the party, you pretended to humiliate Chenwei, but your eyes never left her. You kept saying you hated her, yet when danger struck, you still saved her first. Later, you explained a lot to me. Fine, because I love you. Because you're my only family, I chose to trust you one more time. All along, I had a clear and hopeful vision of our future. I wanted to marry you, have children with you, and build a family that belonged only to the two of us. But you must have seen back then that I was starting to have doubts about this marriage, so you promised me that even if Chenwei had her reasons, you wouldn't waver in the slightest. But what happened later? Lu Jingzhou, I looked at Lu Jingzhou with hatred, and saw his expression filled with guilt, sadness, regret, and the helplessness of being Unable to change the past, but what good did it do? The past cannot be changed, and the hurt cannot be undone. The pent-up grievances of many days finally erupted at this moment. You stood me up on our wedding day. She didn't even show up in person, it was just someone else's words, and you abandoned me for her. That recording pen, we were together for 5 years. Did you ever trust me? Do you know how you looked at me back then? You didn't even give me a chance to explain, you just passed judgment on me outright. Later on, you didn't even notice me following behind you as you kissed Chinwei in the pouring rain. You said Chinwei deceived you. Lies only fool those who choose to believe them. Deep down in your heart, you were hoping Chinwei really had a reason, weren't you? So how am I supposed to believe that you love me? My tears broke free, and I murmured, Lu Jingzhou, in these 5 years when I loved you with all my heart, I could never be sure that you loved me, so now that I don't love you anymore, how could I possibly believe that you love me? Every time I see you now, I'm reminded of your suspicious, questioning gaze, of you running away on our wedding day, of you kissing Chinwei right in front of me. These images haunt me, over and over, reminding me how you betrayed me even as you said you loved me. Lu Jingzhou's eyes were bloodshot, tears silently streaming down his face as he looked at me with sorrow. After the intense release, I stood there, dazed and motionless. Finally, I said to him calmly, Lu Jingzhou, let's let each other go. Forget me. If you ever meet another wonderful girl in the future, you only need to do one thing, forget me. Don't let her go through what I did. If I ever meet a great person in the future, I'll forget you too. Lu Jingzhou, you don't need to give me any shares. Let's just pretend we never knew each other. Let's not see each other again. After a long, long time, so long that I thought he would never speak again, Lu Jingzhou finally replied in a low voice, the company was built by you as well. I'll still give you that 10% of the shares. If only there were a drug in the world that could cause amnesia, so that our memories would stop the day before the wedding. We were so close to getting married. I felt nothing inside. Without looking at him again, I turned and walked away. In the night bathed in gentle moonlight, in the gaps between the bustling crowd, in the moment we exchanged smiles, in every moment brimming with love. Lu Jingzhou and I had said I love you to each other countless times, treating each other as our support and salvation. My love back then was sincere, passionate, and wholehearted. As for him, I don't know, maybe he loved me, maybe he